Yeah, so like I said, I got to have patience and experience all of that, and not have to they and still got support on my end. So when it was my turn to play, my whole family coming to my games and getting the support, see my grandparents there and all that stuff. So yeah, being able to see all my cousins shine, see all my family members do what they had to do, and then it being my turn. Like my mom and dad both have like 8 or 9 brothers and sisters each. So and my mom would always send my old clothes down to my cousins, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So whatever plans, I tell this story, whatever plans I have for my stuff, whether I want to keep it or whatever, she might have already sent it down. So it just taught me all the stuff that we have is just material. She was definitely always taught me that the name on your shirts, the Nike symbols and all that, it's just a business, right? That doesn't define who you are. It's the person that's wearing it that defines what that is. So yeah, that always taught me to just make sure I knew my purpose, knew my why, because I wasn't out there trying to impress or do whatever. I was really just out there trying to go as hard as possible, because that's really where I wanted to be in that moment.
Yeah. So let's go to your college career. I mean, your professional career. How was that?
Yeah, I mean, playing in England was amazing. Obviously, I wanted to get to a higher level, bigger gyms, bigger all that. But when you get over there and you realize, it's just regular people like you and I that happen to own a team. They might have a business, and their son, like my particular case, is a guy that owned the business, and his son wanted to play basketball, and then there's another coach that had a basketball program, and then they came together, so it's people trying to make things work, and people trying to put things together, and they're doing it for you to live out your dreams. So I'm definitely grateful, blessed for that experience. My teammate at Quincy, Joe Tagarelli, I was always throwing him post passes and stuff, and he's scoring on the highlights. I feel like the coach always saw me throwing him the passes and stuff on the highlights, hey, we might want your point guard too, because we need a point guard. So
make that connection.
Yeah, that's really how I got overseas. And after our first year, he ended up going to Malta and in Iceland, and I kept playing for that team Sola Kessos in England. So yeah, it was a great experience. I feel like the people were warm, were welcoming, a little bit different than here, but kind of still influenced by the culture a little bit. I feel like wherever we are, that influences culture, and people adapt to that. So people, as soon as you open your mouth, they're like, oh, the American, it's it's all love, and I love that part of it. But sometimes the intent and the intent that you have for your life might not resonate the same, because they're staying over there, you're not staying, you know what I mean? So a lot of their stuff is more set in stone, whereas yours is more temporary. So that's kind of a small disconnect that you have in overseas life. And if you talk to any overseas basketball player, they'll definitely tell you, especially if they're in other countries, not England. I got lucky with English, but the communication barriers, just the intent behind certain words or certain phrases might be a little bit different, but for pretty much when it comes to basketball and stuff, it was about the same. I played in a league that you only had 2 Americans. So, I got more free reign, whereas other leagues, there's 4 or 5 Americans. So I enjoyed that a lot. And I really got to be my natural scoring self overseas, rather than a pass first point guard. So I really enjoyed that.
So what was the transition like, as far as the basketball from college to the pros? What was the transition, and what was the difference?
See, this is why I train, really, because college me, if you think back, was more, catch and shoot, get downhill, make a play, might pull up off the ball screen and stuff like that. But when I got to pro, my coach was like, hey, you don't have to chill. You can attack. I want you to kill them in practice, kill your teammates in practice, so that way in the game they know you're the guy, So that's the first time, you have a coach really telling you that. So it instilled confidence in me to, hey, this is my team. This is how we're going to play. And I still get to pick up full court and do all the other things that, that make the game a little bit gritty and tough. But when it comes to having the ball in my hands, it's really no, I get the ball in my hands late clock, late game, all that. So that was that first year was the first time I hit game winning 3, my whole life, my whole career, because like I said, the ball's coming to me. Nobody else is gonna be able to make that play that I was able to make. So it was great to be able to have just like literally free reign to kind of do whatever. And it showed because in college or in high school, I think I averaged like around 16, maybe 17. But in pros, I averaged like 17, 18. So in college, it dropped down, leveled up. The highest I averaged was a 10 and 11 or 11 junior, senior year. So yeah, I got to be able to score a lot. And I think that just made the game a lot more fun, even though my parents and my friends and stuff weren't able to see in person how good I was able to get, But it was still fun for me to enjoy and see myself like, hey, this is the dream for sure.
Do you feel like what you went through in college, like, prepared you for? I mean, of course, like, when you play college ball, it prepares you for that next level of transition to the pros. But do you feel like how much do you credit those struggles in college that helped you in the pros to make that impact?
Oh yeah, I mean, college, when you get overseas, they look at NCAA as a professional system. D1, D2, D3, it doesn't really matter. It's a professional system to people overseas. So that instilled like, hey, they're expecting me to take their basketball program to a higher level. So I definitely think the conditioning, the communication, the defense, the rotations, like the scheming, the coverage, it's just everything, how in depth. My coach, like I said, Marty Bell, he did a great job, but like we always had like a quote of the day or like an offensive focus and a defensive focus. So we were thinking basketball at a high level, I think there. And I'm sure other schools do that, but what it did for me was definitely prepare me for pros, because a lot of those pros are more national people. They didn't go to NCAA level, and some that did, that if they're over here, that means they came back. What I mean, if they were over in England. So it just allowed me to emerge as the leader that I needed to be at that level, which then allowed me to be a coach and be a trainer and everything. So yeah, college basketball, how it's literally a professional system. And now you see that with people getting NIL deals, like crazy NIL deals, even D2, D3 people, NAIA, JUCO. Like, it doesn't matter, high school, right? Yeah. Because America, in general, we take sports so serious that it really is a professional system. So it did prepare me just I really think the leadership level, being able to be like, hey, 5 minutes left in the game, we're down 3, 2 scores, 3 stops in a row, momentum change. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then we'll get the ball, somebody's hot, I'll run a play, whatever. So it took my confidence and communication to the higher level, for sure.
So you said that you coached. So, and I'm assuming, and you'll probably agree, that from what you experienced from the college level, working your way up and not having immediate success, it probably helped you in your coaching career, able to see, like, from multiple lenses of players, to communicate with all your players, like in a way that you understand what they're going through, instead of just like, immediately, you might immediately being a star and you just stayed there, so you can't relate to, what I mean, as a coach,
For sure. It's like, and even just person to person character, like if I'm talking to someone and they just like trying to dismiss what somebody else is saying, it's like, hey, you're missing the point. Like, this person is put in charge, because most of the time that playing time and all that might come from the head coach, right? So if I have a person on the bench or somebody, maybe even a starter, trying to get back into the game and they're always frustrated, it's like, I can definitely see where they're coming from, but I can see from a coaching standpoint, like, you're just not doing your job to earn that time, and you're missing. There's a disconnect between what you're wanting to do and what coach is wanting to do. And it did help me have like just patience, like I've been talking about, have patience with them to know that, hey, they just aren't seeing it, and I have to relay the message in a way. Like, that is my job as an assistant coach, to relay that message to the players, because I am closer to them in age and can connect with them a little bit more. So I think I had that trust at UIS, and I think it showed, because that was UIS's in D2, that was their best year. They went 19-10 the year I was there, and I think credit to, I spent a lot of time with the guys in study hall, a lot of time with the guys in one-on-one like training or small group training, and they just come up and talk in the office and all that. So just building relationships and being honest with them about where they are and where they're at. And I was thinking about this earlier, especially at the Division II level. A lot of guys don't really want to go pro. A lot of guys don't really want to continue on. So for me to identify that and then be like, well, you still have a job to do to help this team.
Yeah.
That definitely helped me communicate that type of stuff to them.
And since you did go pro, you can help the ones that want to go pro.
For sure, yeah. There's Jacob Hanna, Mike Wright is going on his third year. You know, Mike. Yeah. Jacob's probably he transferred before his senior year. And then there's a few more guys that are still trying to go overseas from UIS. So yeah, there's a lot of people that have those aspirations, and it definitely felt good to be like, to have them reach out to me and be like, hey, Herm, how did you do it? How can I do it? And I had a unique situation because I didn't really have an agent at first. And like I said, my guy Tags really helped me get overseas because based off of his playing level. So these guys, they're a little bit more talented and they'll have agents and all that stuff. So their journey is a little bit different than mine, but I still try to support them with telling them like, hey, they're gonna run you out the gym when you get there. So as soon as you hop off the plane, you better be ready to run, like for real.
Yeah.
So yeah, just preparing them for that stuff mentally. Let them know, you know, you're not gonna be able to talk to everybody all the time. When you wake up, that's the one thing. When you wake up overseas,
time difference.
Well, yeah, it's 7 a.m., 8 a.m. there. We just went to sleep over here. That's 6 hours, 8 hours time difference. So by time it's 2 p.m., that's when people start texting you back and your phone start blowing up, and that you're busy now.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a different lifestyle, but I it was great to experience, and I'm happy to see all the guys that I coach go on because now I get to watch them and have more connections to new teams I never even heard of.
Yeah. So let's switch gears. Let's go to the training.
Mm-hmm.
So you said that you were training guys while you were coaching at UIS. Is that what where you got the bug that you wanted to start training? Or
no, so I've been training since when I was in college. My dad had me coach an AAU team. So I had a team of all the players that the teams around here didn't want. We put that team together and, took them to tournaments and stuff. So yeah, I had success with some of those kids, and some of them went on to play high school basketball, high school football, whatever. So it was good to inspire them to keep going on. So that's where I would say my training started. Even at Quincy, you'll have random parents be like, oh, my son just loves seeing you at camp. Can you train him one time or whatever? And yeah, so I did that a few times. And then, when I was in England as a professional at my level, at that second league, you have to go out to schools to do in-school training, go after school, kind of like PE. Yeah. Really, you got a whole class of kids that never played basketball before. So that is so fun. After school programs, kind of similar to where people either choose basketball or cricket or whatever, and they call it a club. Yeah. So those, and then actually helping schools start school teams.
Okay.
So I did that, and then there was we have a national team. That's what they call it. Instead of AAU, it's a national team. If you don't make that national team, we still had an academy for you to come to when you were 16, 14, and 12, or 18 and under or whatever. So they would come train with me on Friday nights in hopes of making it to the national team, the better team. So that was where I really got my training, my philosophies, and really honed in on okay, people do trust me to teach them how to play and how to get to the next level. And it just shows how that U.S. NCAA system really does prepare you to be a professional player or professional coach. So when I got back, in between seasons, I was trained, had a few clients here or there in 2018. And then in 2019, I hooked up with my guy with Make It Work, and we started, making flyers and doing more marketing, more videos, and really took my business presentation to the next level. So that's when the training started taking off more.
Mm-hmm. Because I know, we crossed paths, a few times with the skills training, and I remember vividly the time that we actually worked with the player at the same time, and it was your cousin Caprice, and it was at the Salvation Army. You know what I mean? Yeah. And we were working with her at a camp, and I seen the way you was working with her, and you might not remember that, but I just sat back. I'm like, okay, yeah, he you know what I mean? Because I didn't know how deeply you were into training yet. You know what I mean? But then when I saw how you were working with her, I was like, oh yeah, you know what I mean? Because being a trainer, you see people that train and you see, how they train, and everybody trains differently. But it's some people that you see that train and you can be like, you know what? That's exactly how I would, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think Springfield's good for that. I like got Matt at the Salvation Army. We got Marky Freeman, Coach Keys, and other people that we've grown to know or have seen. Rest in peace to Q.
Yep.
The quote.
Yep.
So
and he was there.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I remember that, and like that's really why I do it, because I want to bring people together to show like, hey, just because we aren't in the NBA or we aren't somewhere coaching whatever, we aren't there because we want to be here teaching you these things. Like I don't think sometimes younger kids really get that level of like commitment, discipline. Like, I'm here because I want to help you.
Yeah.
So that's why I do it, just to make sure they know, like, hey, this is what I would have wanted when I was a kid. And I had that type of training too. I would go to the gym, work out with like all those referees at the gym, like Glenn and Kenrick, and then like Klunik.
Yeah.
They had basketball academies, and I would go to those too. And even like Beaumont and Ali, with Springfield Central, like I've been going to those type of things my whole life, but sometimes they aren't widely known.
Yeah.
So I wanted to be that one that's like, why can't we make it widely spread that, hey, we in Springfield, we love basketball, let's take training to the next level. And I feel like playing multiple sports, I have good attention to detail and know at what time to do the right thing. So for me to try to translate that to somebody, that person might not have somebody have that much patience with them. So why not be me to have that patience for that kid?
Yeah. And I will say one thing that I've appreciated with your training, and just I can tell by your whole attitude toward training, how you even convey it on social media and stuff, is that how I feel is, I know how you feel, is that you gotta like skills training is just as important as actually playing the game.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, not saying that it's more important than playing the game, but it's equally important. The development is equally important. No matter what anybody says, development is important. And the sooner you get a handle on that and know how to prioritize that, the better player you will become. There's nothing wrong with getting that edge with some extra work outside of playing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know when like training really picked up for like where it just got popular. Maybe it was on social media around like 2017, 16. I know YouTube videos started picking up. I was watching Dev in the Lab, but I feel like training kind of had like a bad stigma on it, as if you're trying to be in like Kobe, because I think Kobe, people looked at him as being selfish. So when you like train, people kind of looked at you as like more so being selfish. But it's like, if I can't maximize myself, how am I going to be the best for my team?
Exactly.
So once I kind of wrap my head around that, then I realized like, oh no, everyone should be training. Even the bench players should be training, or else you're not making our team better. So once I really realized that, I was like, we have to put more emphasis on skills training, and how I do it as well. That opens up a lot of stuff for like strength and conditioning, physical therapy, mindset performance, nutrition, apparel, marketing, NIL deals. Like, there's so many more things that come into it once you really realize I need to develop outside of just these 2 hours I'm at practice. You realize how much more potential you have.
And like we talked about earlier, you were saying like when you were in high school, you didn't know about your nutrition and stuff. Well, that's what a trainer and people and coaches, how they can help you tap into that early. You know what I mean? Like, like what you're talking about, you can move like a pro as early as you want to.
For sure.
You know what I mean? And that's some of the stuff I think that you promote, is bringing in people that have these different expertise, because it's never too early to at least get educated on it.
Well, shout out, like you said, shout out to my little cousin Marissa, who's at
that's what I say, Marissa, not Caprice, Marissa.
No, that's all right. I was gonna get back to it, but she's kind of like the one where it's like, I didn't even really directly like train her all the time, but like I would drag her with me
in the sand though, doing those workouts.
I would train her on that stuff, like sand workouts,
nice.
Hill workouts, take her to Dayton to get some strength and conditioning. So I would just that's what I'm saying. Just take her with me. Hey, you do my workout, because that was more so when I was playing, right?
Yeah.
So that's why I said I didn't really train her as much,
right?
Until she got to like senior year, and then I was here more. That's when I really started training her. But like, yeah, really just showing people like this is what I would do if I was working out at my highest level. This is what you should do as well, and I'm gonna bring you with me. So when they see that, then that, the synapses, they start making connections in their own brains, and they start realizing, oh wait, I can do way more. So I think that's really important. Mentorship is really important.
It's very important, you know what I mean? Because you just, for one thing, you don't know, the younger athletes, their minds are molding, their minds are fragile. So it's nothing wrong with having that extra mentorship, especially in something they love to do anyway. You know what I mean? It ain't just, you know what I mean, you love to do it, but you want to have some structure to it, some fun, some positivity, but you also want to see like examples of that next level. You know what I mean? And I think you're doing a great job of doing that, man. You know what I mean? So just giving you your props now on that.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I see all your work, man.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I try to make sure people, they have fun with it, but they also know like why they're doing it.
Yeah.
And I think my business background helps me understand that, there's businesses have exit strategies. Like you can't just go in and be like, I want to be the best player ever. Like you got to be like, I want to be the best player at this position, and I want to do this role, and I want to get to this level and make this impact. Because if you don't define it, then somebody will just tell you what your role is. So you really, you do have to have a good understanding of where you're at right now and where you're gonna go. And it takes somebody outside of you to kind of give you that perspective sometimes. No matter the best man in the world, if they look in the mirror, so what? Like they know who they are, but they still need other people around them to tell them. Jesus had 12 disciples for a reason. Like you can't just do it all on your own. So now that you bring up Jesus, and let's get to the faith aspect of it. For sure.
So I see your videos of you training and your different posts and stuff, and what intrigued me and one of the reasons why I wanted to bring you on is because I know for a fact that your faith in God plays a big role in everything you do, and you let it be known.
For sure.
Touch on that a little bit.
Well, you have to. Like, that's what we're called to do. Like, if you're chosen to share your faith, then that's why, because you have to share your faith. Like, I feel like a lot of times we can get inside of our head, and that's when you start to do those like kind of sinful nature type things, because everybody makes mistakes. Of course, I've made plenty of mistakes. But when you start getting in your head and overthinking things, that's when those mistakes happen, rather than trusting your faith, trusting that God has a plan for you, trusting all the people around you to guide you and really get you to the level that you need to be. Like, of course, you have work to do within that, but it starts with that faith part. And if you don't have faith that you're going to be okay, then that's when things start getting real chaotic and everything. So I'll have to say shout out to my grandma. When she was alive, she was a pastor at St. John's AME. And then what really stood out to me is that they had a rule in the AME church that, after a certain age, I can't remember what age was it, 65 or something like that, it's 70, I don't know what it was, where it's like you can't preach anymore. I don't know if it was only for women or if it was for everybody, but she kind of went against that rule and started preaching in Lincoln at, I think it's called Bethel AME. So my family and I would always go to Lincoln on Sunday mornings. I think that was kind of my middle school, high school age. We would go to Lincoln just for church, just because my grandma was preaching. So a lot of that instilled like, faith in me, and it allowed me to be comfortable with who I am in my spirit. And then, like I said, get to college and start that FCA group, and just it allows you to take risks that are right. If you're scared to take a risk, then it's probably because it's not right. If that makes sense. So being rooted in faith allows you to see, this path is for me. The world might look at things a different way, but I know for me and my spirit, my background, this is exactly how I want to maneuver on these things. And I think, having strong spiritual leaders, of course, starting with my parents, my sisters, and my family, just having a good foundation that definitely allowed me to be able to make rooted decisions. And I try to carry that over, pray before sessions, send out scriptures. When I was in high school and college, I had the devotionals from FCA, so I was always handing those out to the players.
Yeah.
Even overseas, I had them, and I was reading them and handing them out. So, yeah, I think that type of leadership from that standpoint allows people to be comfortable around you, because that's me showing other people that, hey, I make mistakes, and I know you might make mistakes, but hey, we in this together, and let's talk about how to get to that, or how to not make up for that mistake, but how can we, do better? How can we make better decisions? And that's what the Bible, teaches us, starting with the mindset and the belief. And then that's what it teaches us to how to use or work with people to be better.
Yeah. I completely agree with that, man.
Mm-hmm.
And I also feel like what you've done a good job too, like I said, because I follow your content, is that you've been consistent. You've been consistent with it.
For sure.
You know what I mean? You let it be known that, hey, my strength is in this.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I've done all this, but it wasn't all just me. You know what I mean? And you give credit to where, to where credit is due. That it is a big part, if not the biggest part of the whole, of what you got going on.
For sure.
You know what I mean? And I think the fact that you live by example, and not just anybody can say what's the obvious.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But by your background and what you've done and what you continue to do, it kind of helps people to actually respect. You might not agree, but you gotta respect it, because I'm living it, and I'm also saying what I live. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's really important, and you've done a good job at that too, man.
No, I appreciate that. I think that kind of goes back to, a lot of times I didn't really get it, but after games, we might have just lost, and in high school, and then people come and be like, hey, I know you just lost, but I just love how you play. I just love your energy and how you just get your teammates involved, and how you just blah, 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 blah. And it's like, after a loss, you're not trying to hear that.
Right.
Especially in high school, I wasn't trying to hear that. But it made sense, once you sit and reflect on it, you go out to eat, and then you come back home, you're laying down, it's like, that makes sense. Like, that's what's going to carry on, later. Like, people aren't going to remember how many points you score. They're not even going to remember if you won the game, honestly.
Yeah.
People still think Quincy's a Division I to this day. You know what I mean? They don't really understand those little nuances and stuff. They just
did for a long time.
You know what I mean? They're just like, hey, I just know you're cooking, or you're doing this, or you're playing the right way. And you can definitely make things look larger than they are just by bringing other people up around you. And it starts with you, though. And if you don't really have that faith, that energy, that passion about you, then it won't show.
Yeah. That's like you said, that's important, man, about how you move. Not necessarily like you said, like the outcomes of what it is, but how you move and how you present yourself.
Mm-hmm.
That goes a long way, man. That goes a long way. And just like like on the court, like on the basketball court, or any sport in that manner, somebody got to win, somebody got to lose.
Right.
But it's actually how you win and how you lose. That matters. And a lot of that has to do with your character.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it comes out, and people see that.
Mm-hmm.
People see that. Just like on the you've experienced it on the basketball court. Playing, in an official game, open gym. I'm pretty sure you've been like, you need to certain way you need to move, because you never know who's watching.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what my grandma.
And not saying that that's the reason, but in the back of your mind, it's like you don't know who's watching.
Yeah, you don't.
You don't want to fake it, but you still don't. You know what I mean? You want to be a certain way, because you're watching people too.
Yeah, no, I agree with you 100%. Because now I'm in that position to be like, hey, yo, you might want to look at this guy. But when I was younger, that's something my grandma would always say. My dad echo, like, hey, you never know who's watching. And especially for me, like, I have a big family. My grandma would be like, you don't know those younger kids. They're watching every step that you take. So when it just comes to the sports standpoint, when I was in high school, playing at a Collinsville tournament, that's when my AAU team saw me. That's when he was like, hey, little fella. That's what he say, like, hey, little fella, I want you to come play for me.
Yeah.
And so I played for Team Ramey, because that AAU coach was scouting there and then wanted me, like I said, for to get overseas. That coach was watching my other teammate, and then he sees me and like, probably want him to come. And then, you know, I'm doing training around the city and all this, and then Coach Brock's like, I got a coaching spot for you, you know, come get your master's. So that's my life really, is you, and I feel like that's everybody's, like, you know, it's hard because I'm in human resources by trade with my MBA. And, you know, you want to
Congratulations on that too, man.
Oh, yeah, appreciate it. Yeah. And I know you want to be fair when you're trying to hire people, but we got to be honest. Most people hire people that they know, or they know somebody that knows that person, you know? Yeah. So that's where a lot of people, and it's not even nepotism. It's trust. Like, I know that person that knows that this person can get the job done. My life is on the line. I have to provide for my family, so I'm not going to put somebody in that position that I don't trust. And, you know, when people are able to see and give good referrals back to other people, then that means a lot more than a highlight tape.
Yeah. And credentials mean a lot, but also, you know what I mean, like you said, the who you like who may know somebody that knows another person well. It's also about, you know, character. Yeah. You know what I mean? If they can read you and judge that, like, you got good character, they can trust you. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? They might go out of their way to make room for you, even if you don't all the way meet the mark. They're like, you know what? We know that you will meet the mark because we see, you know, how you are. We know that you're gonna get there. We're gonna give you a little patience. Mm-hmm. You know.
I was literally just talking to one of my business mentors about that, because you know, we're looking at trying to hire people and stuff like that. And then when you are trying to hire people, some people will excel in some spots, but they won't want to meet your standard in other spots. Whereas this other person might want to meet your standards in the spot that you really value more, and they might not hit in this other spot where you don't really even need that. So you can look to the side on that. Like, for me, coaches might not love my height, but they love everything else about it. Or coaches might not, or me as a coach, that somebody trying to hire me, they might not love the way I coach, but they love the way I can demonstrate. So you never know what somebody's really looking for. You just gotta trust and have faith that you're in the right spot at the right time, and you're with the right people, and good things will happen from there. Like, our time is very limited on earth, I think, especially as you're older. It goes by so fast, especially when you're planning your days out way ahead. So you just gotta live for that moment and do things that are true to you. And if you do that, I think good things will come.
Yeah, man. Speaking of time, we're coming in on the fall, man, and we talked a little bit. We're gonna have to collab on something, you know what I mean, training wise, you know what I mean, pick each other's brain. It's been a while since we've been in the gym together doing something, so it'll be different, but I'm pretty sure it'll be fun. So you got an event coming up, man.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and it's an event, like a clinic style for a certification. Am I correct?
Yeah. So the athletes, for them, I want them to understand I have an advanced level, which is 10 to 14 years old, and I want them to understand what skills that they're supposed to know during that age range. And then the elite athletes, high school mainly, some of them will get to that level after their 8th grade season. I'll invite them to start training with the high schoolers. But I want them to also know, hey, yours is more about really, you have to really know the fundamentals, but now you guys got to add your skills and know what skills you're good at. But now that recruiting, marketing piece is a big part of where you guys are going to go next. So, like, make sure those advanced kids aren't worried about social media and all that stuff too much. Making sure that the high school kids are utilizing social media in the right way. And then also bringing the media and the trainers around them to show, hey, these are the trainers that are taking the next step to show, hey, we want to get with you individually or in small group sessions to train with you. And this is how we're, leveling up our knowledge as well by working with Herm. And then for media, the same way, likewise, like, I know those media guys, these are people I work with, and they've done tremendous stuff for me, but more so getting them in the area to where now those high school kids, they need marketing, recruiting. These are the media people that you go to. You don't have to go through me to get through them. But of course, if you go through me to get them, we can definitely make it look amazing, of course. But when I put my expertise on it. But I just want to put those people in front so that way I don't, I'm not saying I did my job, but I'm I'm on the way to building that sports network that I've always dreamed of building. And I think this is the true legit start of it, because the way I'm formulating it and the way that it's coming together to where people really are going to understand their purpose at a higher level, rather than just like you just come and you just do a clinic for 2 days or 2 hours and then you leave. Like, no, you guys are going to know exactly what you're getting. You're going to have a good time. You're going to get all the skills that you need, all the knowledge, but you're also going to have fun with your peers and get marketing and all that stuff. But really, just like everything else, the connections that you make lead to more knowledge, and that allows you to get to your goals.
Yeah, that's gonna hit multiple. That's gonna hit multiple angles, man. Like like you said, for the younger kids, they get an opportunity to be around a certain environment. You know what I mean? That they can aspire to. And you know, Springfield, we take pride in our sports,
for sure.
But I think this is something special, because to me it sounds like it can become and will become like a primary hub to like kind of put your pride and your passion for basketball like in an organized vehicle.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And it'll grow from there. You know what I mean? Like we need it.
Yeah, because I mean, we have, you know too, we have plenty of AAU teams, we have plenty of gyms, but it's like, how are we utilizing these spaces? How are we doing stuff outside of those training times to get better? And no knock on anybody that does it, but a lot of times if your coach is also training you, then there's just a little bit of bias there to where, you know, I'm going to play the people that are coming to train.
Yeah.
That's exactly why I don't coach an AAU team. You know what I mean? Because I don't want to be like, oh, well, little Johnny comes to training, I'm gonna play him because I know he can cook. But it's like, you that's why I want to build that network of trainers. And right now it's starting with basketball, and of course I'm looking to expand to other sports. And I know people have things established here in their own way, but I definitely want to make it more unified, because especially with the Shields complex coming, there's going to be a lot of space and time for people to do individual and one-on-one training. But that price point for renting the gym and all that, it has to make sense for Shields. You know, it has to make sense for the people that need to make profit. So I feel like when you pull together a lot of resources and pull together a lot of people, then it'll be more likely for you guys to access funding to get that space. And you know, I work with different partners that may or may not, like I'm not sure if they have the access to funds to do something like that, but that's within the goal. And I just have to do my job and get the right people around that will be ready when that time has come, when somebody's like, hey Herm, I got 2 hours a night for you at the complex, or I got 2 hours whatever for you, plus weight room access, plus classroom, plus all that, you know what I mean? And then that's when it starts expanding and becoming a legit sports academy. And that's the goal, of course. And that's what I want to build for the athletes, because it is about playing on teams and going to tournaments and all that stuff, but a lot of that racks up money really fast, and a lot of that kids are still sitting on the bench. So that training aspect is always going to be there, and I feel like it's my job, especially with my business background too, to make them blend together. And this is a professional training product that, you know, we can implement for all ages and all sports.
Oh yeah, man. I'm looking forward to great things that you're gonna do, man.
Yeah, yes, sir. Yeah, definitely think you know, there's plenty of ways we can collab and work together. I know we talked about doing like a on-court, well, weight room and on-court stuff.
Right.
But definitely, you know, expanding that to even, you know, have more videos. I know you've seen like my mic'd up with the doc, doing stuff like that, and just you know, being able to share that to different people. I'm also been connecting with people on social media that are different places, so I want to get out there and start working out with them too, so that way I can bring the knowledge back to Springfield, kind of like I did with basketball overseas. So just taking that to a more professional standpoint. And I know a lot of people usually go to conferences, big conferences and stuff like that, but I want to more so connect 1v1 with some high level coaches, and or one to small group, you know, and really gain that knowledge that I can bring back and get to the kids. And I think that my G2 sport clinics, I think that'll be the nucleus of how I can do all that.
And G2 is your brand.
Good enough too. Yeah. I just shortened it to G2.
Okay. And you've had that brand for a little while, man. What's the mission behind that? Like, what does it represent?
So Good Enough 2 actually came from my mom. You the song like in Fighting Temptations, no, I'm not good enough, but he still loves me. So, just showing that you are capable of being loved despite your mistakes, your flaws, or whatever it may be. So if you have that good enough too attitude, you know that you're able to do what's in front of you, but also prepare for what's in the future, and you're good enough to also not forget about the past, but use the past to your advantage, because you can't do much about that, but you can use it to gain more knowledge and gain strength right now in the moment. So that's what Good Enough 2 stands for. One of my mottos is like give and receive love, because like I said, when you walk into a building, people are going to give you energy, but it's going to be based off that energy you give them. So why not be the one to give it, then you receive it, right? So that's one of the mottos for sure. And then there's stuff like be ready, be you, good enough to be you, good enough to be ready. It's just a lot of different play on words, but it's all an ethos and philosophy for who I am, how I was raised, what my mom instilled, what my dad instilled, how my sisters are. They're still excelling in their careers right now. So there's the DNA, the proof is in it. So I'm just the one that has to market it, because they're not doing it.
Right.
So it's been great to, I think everybody should have their own brand, and that's another part of the business, is trying to help these kids understand like you are a brand, and you do have things that you stand for. You're just not saying it, and nobody's told you how to say it. And I was the same way. So when I speak up and use my voice and communicate in that way, then they're able to bounce off and reflect and take and do whatever. They don't have to start their brand with me, but I just think that they should know what they stand for. And when I say start their brand, that doesn't mean like how you have Built to Destroy. It doesn't mean like you have to make a name for it or have to put a label on it.
Right.
But like you said, when you're walking around playing, people are watching you.
Yeah.
So what is your brand? Who are you? And when I go tell this person about when I saw you, can I accurately share what your character was, or were you just you get those people that come to train, they're just kind of quiet, down, always looking down, never give you eye contact. It's like, I don't really know who you are. Like I want to know. I feel like brands help you tell who you are. And then
absolutely,
when it comes to the merchandise and stuff like that, that's the fun stuff.
Yeah.
I don't really look at that part as like profit, really. Whereas like, of course you can make profit from it, but it's more so to connect. Like it allows me to work with AAU teams, and it allows me to get some of those players to come train for me and train with me. So it's more so like a networking connection, and
it puts a little more organization to it.
Yeah,
and more focus,
and creative design too. Because then that's why I said the media people, they have more to do with my brand now, because I got fashion photo shoots or team photo shoots, and then graphic art, and then copywriting as far as like making scripts and stuff for commercials, and being creative, whether it's funny or it's infomercial or something like that. So that's where you get to be creative and do everything that you kind of envision. And if you don't really have a brand, how can you really do that? Like if you're always working for someone else, and no knock on anybody that work for someone else, because you can make a lot more money than me working for somebody else, but will you make the same impact? Will you really have as much joy with the time that you have? That's one thing nobody can take from me, and that's why I live the way I live.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
Yes, sir.
And I'm gonna have to get some merch from you too, man.
Yeah, for sure. We got collab there too.
Oh yeah,
for sure. I got some ideas.
And speaking of merch, let's see, I got something for you, man. Got your shirt, man.
Yes, appreciate you.
Yeah, man.
I'll be rocking the stuff in the training.
Oh yeah, definitely, man. And I'm gonna do the same.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man. Hey, Herman, it's been fun, man.
I'm gonna let them know too.
Oh yeah. Built to Destroy. Yes, you know what I mean? I'm Built to Destroy, but I'm with Good Enough 2 today.
Yeah, yes, sir.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Shoot, I could talk all day, man. But I said, man, it's been fun.
Yes,
I appreciate you having you on the podcast. We definitely have to do it again, because I got some other topics as we've been talking. I know we ain't got all day, but I got some other topics I want to pick your brain with, and I know you got some stuff to say about it, man.
Yeah, no, I've had a great time. Thanks for having me, and I always envision like definitely having some, not like roundtable discussions, but having conversations with some of those people I was talking about, PTs, S&Cs, because I think we all have that focus and level of maturity where we can bounce ideas off each other, combat each other's ideas, and then still be able to get to a point to where we agree, or we agree to disagree, but either way, in that in that process, there's a lot of information given off to these athletes, parents, coaches, trainers, whoever may be listening. They'll be able to take from that and then go into their walk of life with stuff that they need. And then us as well. Yeah. We'll be able to see, oh, I like, he said that. We can collab on that. Yeah. Kind of the same way that we already do, but open that up for others as well. So
yeah, I mean, because just based upon, you know, how we talked today, man, I learned a lot more, you know, about you that explains who you are today.
For sure.
That I didn't know.
Yeah.
You know, so
no, that's what conversations are for, communication. I talked about that a little bit on my Facebook or Instagram. Like, definitely, I feel like when people communicate more, then other people are able to understand them more. So it's all our job to communicate who we are in this life.
Yeah. Well, thank you for coming on, man.
Sir, thanks a lot. I appreciate it.
Next time, man. I see you, and we are here at Faith and Fitness. And before we end, I want to thank God for giving us the opportunity to be on this podcast. You know, and we're always gonna give God the glory. All right, man.
Always.
Yeah. Till next time.
Yes, sir.